Series 2.
Drummer.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Series 2, Episode 2, Series 1. Whatever way you want to put it. Whatever you want to put it. Welcome anyway. So thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the first one with my lovely wife Sharon. It was good fun.
That was.
We got a really good guest today. Really good guest, which I'll talk about in a moment.
You're struggling a bit, aren't you, today?
Long week.
Yeah.
Long week. So, challenge of the week this week.
Yes, hit me.
That drastic, actually. It's quite a common one, this one. Quite a common one. Sound engineers.
Oh,
so
the classic.
Yeah, the classic. So, Friday. All right, I'm not going to name the venue or the sound engineer because that's not the right thing to do. But Friday we turn up to the gig. So I've got this. I get there before everyone else. So I went in, saw the two sound engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did my normal spiel. Hi there, guys. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Okay, on the spec. Blah 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 blah. Run through that. And then I said what I always say to every sound engineer.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Look, just let you know, I'm deaf. All right, I wear hearing aids.
Yeah.
And actually, last week I then went, and to make it worse,
Yeah.
I've got an ear infection. So I said, to make it worse, I'm only on one hearing aid,
Jeez.
right, because I've got an ear infection. I can't get my hearing aid. I can now, but I can't then. Couldn't get it in my ear. So I made it really clear to them right, that I was deaf, that I needed assistance on the sound check, everything else. So I've got my T-shirt on, my T-shirt, deaf drummer T-shirt.
Yeah.
So it's there.
And you are the drummer, so it's pretty clear.
And it's on my bass drum skin, right? So I've told him up front, it's on my bass drum skin, which he's been miking up and looking at. It's on my T-shirt, all right? It's just
You're pretty clear, yeah.
Pretty
You've
clear.
got all the encompassing.
So we did all that, finished miking my kit up, finished miking the rest of the band up, gets the sounds check, walked straight to the middle of the venue with his little iPad. Stood down, I knew it was coming, I just knew it was coming. All of a sudden, looking at the floor, bass drum. Of course, I'm sitting there, not knowing what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, I looked at Ben actually. Ben, I think Ben gets frustrated more about it than what I do now. So he's gone like, so
Here
I
we
started
go
doing the
again.
bass drum, right? And then same thing, snare drum, like, I can't hear him. Right, because he's standing there, not playing any attention, not talking through a mic like I've asked him to, not doing anything, not acknowledging the fact that I've asked him and told him that I'm deaf. And the fact it's looking written everywhere as well, still completely ignoring it. And in the end, I see, because he went through the snare drum, because all the band are now telling me, when he shouted out, like the band will now go, snare drum, Gavs, snare drum. And then hi-hats, you know, doing the solo. And in the end, I think Ben got frustrated, because I looked over at Ben, I saw Ben go, can someone go and tell him to put to speak through a microphone? This happens so often. Sally's engineer was really good. I told her same thing when I turned up, exactly the same spiel, T-shirt, you know, bass drum. And she was really good. She forgot first of all, and then she very quickly remembered.
Yeah.
And then she was
Which
at the
is
back.
fair enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She was at the back. She didn't have a mic to talk into, but she straight away, as I was looking over at her, she was going. And like she was like
making an effort.
let me know what she wanted next. Thank you, love. I really appreciate that.
There you
that
go.
was Princess Theatre. I understand. I can't remember the lady's name. I've got a photo of her somewhere, but she was really nice, really helpful, really adaptable, and everything else. But Friday's one, just ignored it. Just completely bloody ignored it.
Which is funny because you sit there and you go, you should wear a sign or something to say, well, you've got everything but a sign.
So this is my question. Put, you know, please put some comments in the comment section. What else do I need to do, alright, to make someone aware? In the fact that I've had to put a T-shirt on, put it on my bass drum, and physically talk to someone to explain it to them, I personally feels enough.
It should be. You'd think so.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough for me to do, to say, I've got this disability,
Yeah, exactly.
and I need your assistance on it when we go through these stages.
Yeah.
Alright? I don't know what else to do. I'm a deaf cunt across my forehead, you know. Suggestions. I want suggestions.
You know what? I reckon you should do that anyway.
Do you know what? I'm not going to have much choice. Because if I can't talk to people to tell them about it, put it on my T-shirt, put it on my bass drum, like, what else am I meant to do? So I'm interested.
Yeah.
Please. Put your comments
We can
in.
make it a challenge.
Yeah, let me know what else I'm meant to do. Well, I'm obviously doing something wrong to not make this aware to someone.
Clearly.
Or people are just that bloody ignorant. All right. So,
but even then, what? There must be something else. Someone out there's got to know what to do.
let's find out. So, in the comments, what Gav needs to do when he turns up to a gig, right, to make the sound engineers realise that they just need to give a little bit. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just asking for clear communication.
Well, like the woman, just the couple hand signals done.
You know, how can you ignore that when someone said that to you?
Yeah.
So that's the task for this week. Put your comments in, let me know, and I'll try some of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and maybe we can get some filming done and try it and see how it goes. Or whatever, you know? So that was my challenge of the week. I mean, it's a weekly challenge. I've got to say, sound engineers are usually my weekly challenge, and I don't want to get into the same challenge every week. Last week it was obviously the lighting engineer that we had, which was quite funny. But yeah, this week it was sound engineers. Just completely ignored the fact. So there you go. That's what we have to deal with. So anyway, put your comments in.
Yeah.
What else do I need to do to make people aware, right, that I can't bloody hear them? That's what we want to know this week. All right. So moving on to this week's podcast, we've got a very, very good friend of mine actually.
Special.
Fantastic musician, an all right guy, all round music pro, seasons.
Yeah.
Got everywhere. The fabulous Mr. Darren Bazzoni.
Yeah.
And one thing I would say about Darren actually is when we entered the theatre market, when we decided we were going to take the signatures to the theatre market, I went and spoke with Darren, who at the time actually went, "Oh, I don't know if it'll work, mate. You know, Northern Soul's all about the dancing."
Mm.
Shut up. So you know, it was quite funny that we still progressed with it, and obviously we've established it in the theatres now, which is pretty good. Yeah, go back to Darren. Darren's really experienced in the theatre world, really experienced. And do you know what? This is a credit to anyone really. Whenever I go, or when we first started, whenever I'd talk to people and I'd say, "Oh, you must know, Darren Bazzoni," and everyone that ever went, "Oh yeah, I know Darren," always compliment on how such a nice guy he was.
There you go.
That's good.
That's a testament.
That's a
That
credit to
is.
someone,
Yeah.
It was a credit to someone. So, yeah, my good friend Darren Bazzoni is joining us now. So, Darren, welcome to my podcast.
Hey.
Love it. It's great. Very much looking forward to this. I was a bit scared that what you're going to ask me, but you know,
It's all gonna be good.
So, how big's your cock? Oh no, sorry. I was just seeing if it's alive. I want Willie said.
Different pod. Stay tuned for next week.
that was one of those kind of channels.
Well, we had that joke last week about drummers. Reputations.
No, keep it PG, alright? There's kids watching. Well, hopefully not.
No, so seriously, thanks for coming along. Looking forward to this one as well. My
Thank
friend
you for
Darren.
asking me.
Lots to talk about because you're so multi-fucking-talented.
Well, it's nice of you to say. I don't know about that. I've just been blagging it for
I'll
years.
put it a different way. You've been doing loads of stuff over the years and you've blagged your way through it.
just about managed to get to 56.
Well, I've never met, it's funny, before we get into the hearing questions or what else, I'll say this, there's not many people that I know, like for me and Shaz, with you and Win as well, because our wives, we might want to say this, are pretty good friends as well, because
Right.
our long-suffering wives
Yeah.
have to suffer from the
Shared
same
trauma.
thing. But in terms of like my life, mine and Sharon's life, and yours and Winnie's life,
Yeah.
I don't know of anyone where it's so kind of like mixing the same things.
Yeah.
In terms of obviously being musicians, being on the roads, and promoting and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other couple that's more aligned in terms of like
Yeah.
the challenges and what we do through the year as what you and Winnie do as well, which is quite funny.
We
And
want to
obviously
get
you're a
onto
lot
it.
better than what I am. I accept that.
It's because he can hear.
Definitely not.
It's because he
That
can.
could be the secret.
Definitely not.
What? But first of all, hearing protection, because you've been a musician for fucking 40 something years. We had a conversation before we came in here, and you were going, "No,
Don't
my
keep
hearing's
that in
it's
40
not,
odd years.
it's not that great." But
Yeah.
I've seen you in the studio, and even when other people have been there, you seem to hear things that don't even I mean, I can't know if I call them in the studio, but like, even when people are there that do know,
Yeah.
have questioned what you're hearing. So your hearing is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I am lucky. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, when I first started, like when you're a kid, and also back in the day, there was nothing really about protect your ears and that. I played in metal bands and rock bands and and
ringing ears at the end.
Like probably ring for 2 days, and it would be like like almost like a badge of honour. Oh yeah, my ears are still ringing from the other night. You go, oh,
Good night.
Gig then.
Good gig.
I swore. The first swear word. So it was a good gig if your ears rang for a couple of days, but it was quite quickly. Actually, it was. I'll tell you who it was. My mate Darren Juniper, very wonderful bass player, my best mate, and he always wore plugs all the time, and we were like, he wears plugs all the time, and I thought actually it must be something to do with it. And he was producing at the time, well, he still does, but he always had. Mate, we go in the studio, I had great hearing and stuff like that, and I think, you know what, actually, that's a good call. So I started wearing hearing protection quite early on, which would have probably been when I was in my early 20s. So I reckon I probably went I started when playing drums when I was 4. So all that time without hearing protection, and luckily I wore them for long enough that I probably... But the other thing also, I'm not like, I've got to have this particular filter and stuff like that. I've kind of blagged that as well. I've had like 15 dB filters, and I think you're supposed to have like 20 dB or something like that. So, and also I've kind of, if for whatever reason the monitoring ain't good on a gig, I've kind of taken one out. So I have been jammy, and I do have my hearing checked by a wonderful, lovely lady called Giselle Flower, and she's like top industry lady for hearing, and it's not terrible, but it ain't perfect, my hearing.
I think anyone that's getting to our age, the more mature side of life.
That's one way of phrasing it.
He's talking to you.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing does start to naturally sort of pair off anyway. But
totally.
Is it still? Does it worry? Have you got any concerns about?
No, not the touch wood, not at the minute. I still mix stuff, obviously, all the time, but and I've not really listened to anything yet, and someone's gone, that's a bit toppy, or it's got too much.
Got an album here, is it? Now you mention it, you got to a big question.
This sounds rubbish.
One of the things you just mentioned is back in the day when we were young, there wasn't much hearing protection, and there wasn't. I mean, go back to the 80s and what else. I can't imagine. Never used to mic everything up like we do now either. Like you just get to a gig and just play. Everything mic'd up, this mic'd up, everything else monitors and everything else that we had for gigs that years ago we wouldn't have bothered doing. But in terms of hearing protection, there wasn't anything. Obviously, there is now. There's a lot out. You've got a lot of musicians that work for you.
Yeah.
Do they look after their hearing? What's the general senses on the sort of musicians that you know? Is there people looking after their hearing?
Yeah. So most of our shows, they tend in-ear monitoring is obviously the way the industry's gone. So IEMs, especially, and sound men as well, they're always trying to clean the stage up so they ain't got a load of monitors. So from a production value, it all looks nice and clean, the stage. So they will always try and promote as much as possible IEMs. And obviously, but the only downside of that is, if you're not careful, is, you've got a pack on your back and you can adjust the volume. And I'm guilty as anything with it, I'm like getting into it and I think, I can't really feel it, and as the gig goes I'm like, put my hand behind my back, turn it up a little bit more, and then get home, your ears are ringing because you got it too loud. So there is it's hard, it's a compromise, isn't it?
I think some of my bad members still don't do anything. A lot of them wear in ears, but our good friend Ben, Ben don't wear in-ears, and he doesn't wear any ear protection either, and I've kind of said to him, you really should, mate. And I mean, always seems the horn section. I mean, okay, as you just said, IEMs make a big difference, but
Right, for those out there that don't know what an IEM is.
Oh yeah, of course.
Go on, what is an IEM?
In-ear monitoring.
Oh yeah.
So, which does help, but as you say, if you're still putting on mine's really loud, I have a little mixer on it. Pump right up. I've got a hearing test Tuesday, so I'm going to be able to see if I've done any more damage.
Stay tuned for the results.
That should be interesting. We'll talk about that next week's podcast. To see if there's any bit more deterioration. But it's that balance of being sensible. And the thing is, when you talk about musicians, sensible ain't a word that comes into musicians, is
No.
it?
Well,
Yeah.
in particular drummers, we're not
Yeah.
we're not known for it, are we?
No, we're not really.
I think that's Keith Moon's fault though,
Yeah, let's blame him.
because he used to
defend
just,
himself.
well, he used to chuck TVs out the window. We don't do that, do we?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but we all aspire to do that.
yeah, because we ain't got the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, they're not as big anymore.
Talking
No,
about Keith Moon, let's move on to drum, because you're an amazing drummer. You don't
Thank
play
you.
that much anymore.
No.
I know sometimes you still get out, and I know you need to pick your gear up and gone like, oh, I've got a gig tonight. I'm really, really looking forward to it. You spent how many years on the road?
35.
35 years,
Yeah.
complete
Jesus.
and utter touring, really.
Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the musician's trip is generally like that. You have your good moments and
poor
stuff.
skin.
Yeah.
Poor skin.
Yeah, that's right,
Skin.
yeah. And that's just one
Skin,
week.
skin. A little bit of money, poor.
Yeah, yeah.
Skin.
Majorly poor.
Yeah, that's just 1 week. Yeah, I was trying. Funny enough, I was trying to work it out because, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I left school, I did do like a day job. It was probably in me. I reckon it was in my mid-20s where I remember it. Actually, I remember the time just going like, "You just got to do this." I was in a band and we had a little deal with a little label and stuff like that, and we went out on tour. And I was trying to do both the day, and I thought, you know what, you got to do this because you're unhappy doing what you do. And at the time, I remember taking a plunge and absolutely, scared out my life.
What did your dad say?
I was at that point. I had my own place and in a relationship and everything. It was what my ex-wife said, like, oh, by the way, I'm going to do this full time. How are we going to play for this place? I'll work it out. Don't worry. It'll be fine.
It's another drama thing.
Yeah.
We'll work it out. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Financial planning.
Yeah, no,
So I kind of just went for it, and touch wood, I've managed to, yeah. But I mean, it's always, for people out there that think it's, oh yeah, well, you get to a certain point and everything's fine. It ain't. You can come off tour. You can be on tour for months on end, and then you can kind of come back and go, oh, I've got a bit of money that I've saved, and then you go, and also the other thing about it, when you're touring with an artist or a show or whatever, you go out of people's heads because they go, oh, he's on tour with so and so, and then they don't pick the phone up to you. But particularly before social networking, in the 90s and well, not the 80s because I was too young, but obviously because I'm so young. But like in the 90s and in the early 2000s, where social networking, people weren't on their phone constantly. That was a big thing. You go off on tour, you might only get 6 weeks out on tour. Yeah. You come back and the phone's you look in your diary. I ain't got no work. Yeah. And hopefully you got to the level where people go, oh, they're back now, and it starts to build up again. But that was definitely a big thing back in the day.
Definitely, I think that is where similar to you said what you just said. I was with a band, got a small deal, went off on tour around Europe. Had a great time, 17 years old, living in the back of a transit, smelling for months on end.
Loving
it was
life.
good fun. Well, I don't regret it. It was absolutely great fun.
Yeah. And that was just last week.
But I was doing before I did that, I was doing loads of function work, and I was like always like, and it was good money. It was better money. It was like the weddings and the functions and the clubs. Because then back in them days, you had like workman's clubs galore. You know what I mean?
Everywhere.
Just gig all the time. So I was doing a lot of that. And I was like, I should be able to do this. I should be able to make it as a musician. Then I got the deal, and I buggered off on tour. And then when I came back, I was completely skinned. And I had the record label, loads of money. But because everyone knew I'd buggered off, all of a sudden I had no phone calls. I had no work, and there was just nothing going around. It was a real drop from where I was playing to all of a sudden I was like pub gigs again. I'd lost kind of all those contacts. So someone said to me, "There's a job going at our place, and you get a company." Because I didn't have a car. I come out from tour. Skin, sold my Black Beauty snare drum. Dad said to me, "You better get a proper job now." And someone literally said to me, "There's a sales job going at our place. You get a company car and blah blah blah." So I was like, "I need to." And I originally just thought I'll do it until I get back get some gigs
more,
back or whatever. And then I got a company car and started doing really well at earning money and being normal. And I thought, I'll stick with this for a little while. And that's the way we sort of.
But there's something to be. It ain't the other thing about it. It's not people think, oh my God, it must be so glamorous and da 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 da. But I mean, you know, when you go to these, you know, when you go on tour, and particularly when you go abroad, people say, oh, you've been here. You go, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh, what was it like? I've no idea. I've no idea. You get off the plane, you get picked up, you go to the sound check, you do the gig. You might get the morning the next, if you're lucky, like there, and you might get a run of gigs. I mean, but it's so rare. You go to places, no idea what these places are like.
I totally agree with that.
But you've been there.
But I've been there.
Yeah, I've even around the UK. When I've travelled most of the UK rather than Europe and whatever else, on business and whatever else. Same thing. People say to me, oh, blah, blah. I go, oh, yeah, just top of the M6, blah, blah, blah. I know where it is. Been there loads of times. And then you actually realise, actually, I haven't really been there. I've been there, but I haven't been there.
Nothing.
You ain't done the tour.
The last couple of years, actually, because we've got the camper van, we've started going back to a lot of places that I've been to, but never been to. And now we start going to them, and they're really nice. And all I'm seeing is the club.
It's so funny, isn't it? Funny enough, I was listening to a podcast the other night, history podcast, about York, and they were talking about York and stuff like that. And I thought, oh yeah, I probably played there 25, 30 times, maybe more, maybe 50 times. And I've been there so much, I literally know the street where the venue is, and nothing else about the place apart from how to get there.
York is one of my favourite cities, actually.
Yeah,
it is really nice. It's got all the old castle ruins, the walkway around
Has
it.
it?
It's a lovely little shop.
I've no idea.
There's a fantastic pasty shop in York, actually.
Of course, that's what you know about.
No, York's lovely. Me and Sharon have been there a few times, actually. It's really, really nice. We should go there one day.
I do know the Boozer, actually, in the same street as the venue.
I know where the burger is.
I know where the Boozer is. That's it.
Yeah. So back to drumming, though.
Yeah.
What is it you love about playing the drums so much?
My mum and dad were both singers, and they used to work in, when I say work, they used to do it like semi-pro, but they were really good. I mean, my mum and dad were brilliant singers, and they would go and do, they had a thing like a concert party. It was very kind of post-war to have a concert party, but I think concert parties came about during the war, to be honest with you, kind of entertain people. So they go from like village hall to village hall, doing these little shows, a bit of comedy, and there was a guy, Ron, his name was Ron Barker, and he was great.
Not Ronnie Barker.
No, not Ronnie Barker, but he was a great jazzer, like really good jazzer, and everyone was volunteers. They didn't used to get any money. If they made money, they put it to like local charities and things like that. I mean, it's great thing, great concept. And he was a jazz drummer. He used to offer up his services. There was a pianist and a jazz drummer, and I used to just sit. I was completely fascinated by what he was doing. You know, and as I say, he was a really great drummer. I mean, for the kind of, you know, to be put in his services, you know, for nothing to be. And I used to watch him, and Andy was his son, and Andy and Ron said, "Oh, if you like, I can see you like he's right into the drums. If you want to like have a few lessons in that." And I didn't have many. I had like 3 or 4 lessons from them, and then they kind of they give us some drums, like, you know, that they had like up in the loft and stuff like that. And I always remember I had a red sparkle Broadway kit, right, which was it that place in Charing Cross Road? I can't remember what it's called, but I think it was like an in-house thing, probably from the and it had calf skin heads, like proper, like before the metric drums, you know.
And this come out of their loft?
It was in the loft, but then back in the day, that was just a bit of old tat. Like nowadays, you see these things advertised for thousands of pounds. But it was a lovely old red sparkle, but it didn't have a snare stand. So I had to put the snare on a chair, like my mum's chair. Right, and it didn't have a kick, and also it didn't have a kick drum pedal either. So you used to have to kick it. No, so I got the I don't know if you can see it, but I used to kick it like that, and that was how I started playing. You know, so it had a kick drum and one tom that was hanging, snare drum on a wooden stool, and no kick drum pedal. So you just used to hit it with, you know, a couple of bits of. I probably had a couple of sticks that they donated to me, you know, and that was it. And this went on for ages. And then I think Ron was selling his Premier Olympic. I remember that being a white, but it was a single. It weren't. It was a single-headed tom.
Concert tom.
Yeah, kind of like a concert tom thing. And then I think my mum and dad bought that off him. And that was I mean, drum kits were a lot. They've always been a lot of money, haven't they? But I mean, back in the day, they
As
were
that was not.
yeah. So yeah, famously no and all. So so I think that was the first drum kit proper drum kit that I got on our apps, and that was it. I just used to play it like when I say all the time, and we literally, like the neighbour from hell thing.
Yeah.
I mean, bless them, they're dead now, so I don't talk about them. But we had like the neighbours from hell, and they literally, I went, gang, they went, shut up, and you could hear it well, because we was like end of terrace, So they was like, no, shut up, straight away. Even though, but saying that, I mean, they did put up with it. But I got to the stage where I used to watch them go out, and then I could play.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I used to, because I used to live where we used to live in Langdon, Rising Grove. Like the walls were like paper thin, It was like a slab built house that was falling down there. And they've all been demolished now. But, and I used to have this agreement with my neighbours. Right, I could come home. I was allowed to play between. I mean, I say with my neighbours, the whole fucking estate. My direct neighbours.
Yeah.
I used to have an agreement when I bought the kit, or when my dad and mum bought the kit. I'd play from 3 till 5, Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Saturday I was allowed to play from like 10 o'clock until about 4 o'clock, and Sunday I weren't allowed to play.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agreed that with all the neighbours. And every Christmas my mum used to go and buy boxes of roses,
yeah.
like the chocolates.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then I used to have to go out to all the neighbours with the boxes.
Thank you for putting up with me.
Sweetest, see? Charm, I got away with it.
You know what though? What always makes me laugh about that? People talk about Sundays, don't they? We can't play a drum kit on a Sunday. Church fucking bells.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah. Well, what about gospel churches and all that business? They're not even razzing
yeah, but
it.
the bells, like you sit there on a Sunday, you go,
bells.
you're sitting in your garden, you go like that, and then this out of tune cacophony, ding, dang, 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 dang. It's got nothing about it that's musical.
Yeah, it's all right for God to do it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Whatsoever, and but you can't play the drums.
Yeah, but God ain't doing it Monday
that
to
rubbish
Saturday.
again.
It is funny though, because we've still got this thing about Sundays. I mean, you're right. Today, Sundays aren't what they used to be. When we talked about this yesterday. Actually, me and Sharon talking about Sunday dinners.
Yeah.
How like Sunday dinners when I was young, like, you always were there for Sunday dinners.
Yeah.
My nan used to always do a Sunday dinner, and you were expected to be around the table.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it the other day. She's saying like,
It just don't happen as much.
Don't happen anymore.
Christmas.
But Sundays used to be that sort of thing, wasn't it? Yeah. It was like that. Bert was round ours a couple of weekends ago and jumped on my drum kit as he does, Not encouraging him.
No,
The
wink.
sticks are there.
No, I bought him a mini kit, and he's got like a t-shirt and a hat and
Showing him
symbols
rudiments and all sorts.
Do you know what? I'm not encouraging
I'm not
him.
encouraging him.
No.
Everyone else tends to encourage him more, and I'm not trying to encourage him because I don't want him. Like, if he's going to do it, do it. But I don't want to try and encourage him, put it on and do like his fault. But anyway, Sunday morning, I was suddenly in the kitchen. All of a sudden, I heard bish bash boy. It's Bert on the drum kit.
Yeah, but actually, does he have a little ear defenders?
He doesn't play the kit for long, but no, it's a good point. I should pick up on it.
But the other thing also,
mind you saying that, when he comes to our house, he's obsessed with headphones. I put a pair of headphones on him years ago, a couple of years ago, and since then, whenever he comes to our house, the first thing he does is put the headphones on and walks around the house with the headphones on.
oh, that's a good thing.
Like, that's all he does.
Fair play, yeah.
Because I don't know if you know it, but you can get. I've seen a few people like at festivals and things, musos, where they take their kids with them. They've got these, and they're all colourful and that, and the kids really like them. But they're like proper.
You can get them like branded and that as well, like Star Wars and all that kind of jazz going on.
Yeah, and I've seen kids in the audience at festivals and what else.
Yeah,
and they should do. Especially when they're standing right in front.
Well, no, kids that at that age as well, your hearing's proper susceptible to go bang.
He only plays it for a matter of, he gets a bit bored, which is why I encourage him. I just let him. It just goes on through the day, or something you hear it, or you hear him playing the guitar or something like that. But what I was going to say is, as soon as he sat down and started doing it, I went straight and went, "Oh, it's Sunday, you can't do it on a Sunday." And I live in the middle of nowhere. I thought, why am I telling him you can't do it on a Sunday?
But it's just
inbuilt.
inbuilt.
It's just that built-in Sunday.
All the deer and that going, thanks, Gav.
Yeah.
No one else there. You've been to his gaff.
Yeah.
It's like proper in the middle of nowhere. It's like mine, isn't it?
To be fair, you have got like 2 or 3
I've got
neighbours
4 neighbours.
Yeah.
But
not that
one of them
they
did
care,
it,
I
so
guess.
there was only 3.
Yeah.
This is actually, I say it's funny, but it's not funny. But one good thing about our old neighbour, Kev, bless him, he's a really lovely geezer. Well, it was like the worst thing that ever happened to me because he was like my mate and we used to have a beer and everything else. Anyway, he buggered off, but he was profoundly deaf. So we could have a rehearsal in the front room.
Really?
We could have like a full band in, and he goes, sorry about that, Kev, last night. You go, what? Had no idea that you'd had a full band rehearsal.
Well,
That's an ideal neighbour,
Yeah.
isn't it?
We just had neighbours move. They moved about a month ago. If you listen to this, miss you, Chris. Right, really miss it. They're lovely neighbours, best thing. But they had 2 daughters, and they lived next door to us for 5, 6 years. So I think the kids were like 7, 8 years old when they moved in. So now they're like
grown into teenagers and that.
Yeah. And when they're leaving, you also saying like goodbye. How much we're going to miss him, whatever else. And he said something about the kids, mate. The whole time you've lived here, I've never heard them.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't noisy kids, but I generally had never heard them.
Yeah,
I've never heard
got-
anything come from next door. I mean,
Yeah.
Sharon says we do hear noises every now and again, but me, that's
Yeah.
one of the benefits. Of it.
That is true, yeah, that is true.
Everything. I don't hear it all.
And also, not like this is a genuine question. At night, when you're trying to go to sleep, you ain't got all that. If something is a bit noisy, like with you, it'd probably be like farm vehicles and things like that in the
Well,
middle
there
of the
is.
night.
But I woke up not so long ago. I think it was just before Christmas sometime. Woke up in the morning and Sharon went, "That thunder last night."
Yeah, what fun, yeah. Yeah, brilliant.
They probably do sleep
You
better.
take your in-ears out, didn't you, to
Yeah,
sleep?
take the urinals
Oh,
out.
so you're just deaf as a doornail. It's brilliant.
That's it. I say I've slept through thunderstorms,
Yeah.
everything. Absolutely everything.
Do you ever compensate with feel like the vibrations?
Yeah. Well, it's good actually. We were because I've still got the bass end of my ears is the better part. I think it's
Right.
still bad, but it's like the better
But
part.
it exists.
Yeah, it exists slightly. But it's always a good game. We were at a scooter rally. It's the Isle of Wight scooter rally. Oh, this must be going back about 7, 8 years ago. And our tent wasn't far away from the clubhouse. Right, so we've got into bed. Right, and me and Sharon are laying there, knackered, and I'm laying there, and I could just hear the bass. Right, and then we were playing Guess That Song. Right, because I'm listening to it, all I can hear the bass line. I was like, "Are they playing the night?" Sharon went, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Oh. And then they were doing something else, and then I listened to a song, and they were laying in bed. I was so listening to it, I went, "That fucking sounds like us." She went, "It is. They're playing the signatures."
No
so I jumped
way.
out of bed, got dressed a bit, and we went back over to the clubhouse. The guy that was playing the signatures. So,
Right.
yeah, in the bass lines, you
can actually hear it.
Yeah.
But I do get a vibration from it as well.
Right, yeah.
It's like
'Cause that
my phone. If I'm relying on my phone, I mean,
Yeah.
like most nights I set my phone,
Yeah.
but Sharon comes and wakes me up a cup of tea anyway, so I don't really need it.
You would not survive without Sharon, would you?
Why do you think I'm married?
No, I know. We had it out last week, but it's becoming more and more
You find a
relevant.
good woman,
Yeah.
mate, you grab it quick.
But I'm like that with Juanita. God almighty, I couldn't do anything without her. She's everything.
Yeah. But that's why you have her, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're not
I don't
editing
know
that
about
bit
that.
out, Josh. You're not editing that
Sorry,
bit
Mum,
out.
I love you.
Sorry, darling, he didn't mean it. She's probably, if this was live, she'd be on her way. She'd be in the car. The car would be
She's just
started.
pulled up.
Yeah. She'd be
Don't
there,
wanna
wouldn't
mess with
she?
me, mate. You
No,
don't want
no,
to mess
no.
with me.
That's why I waited till 25 minutes in. Keep it like.
Yeah.
Right, hang on. Pause there for a second.
Yeah.
We just
Done
got
half hour.
Cool.
and that's why you have her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mum. I love you.
You have to
really.
cut that bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, what you were saying about
Vibration.
vibration, world famous, amazing percussionist, Evelyn Glennie. I think she's Dame Evelyn Glennie. I mean, she's profoundly deaf, but incredible classical percussionist.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's obviously
Well, when Mozart or Beethoven, they were deaf, weren't they? And they did it all off of vibration. And they're like one of the greatest composers ever.
Yeah, I mean, vibration is a lot of it. I mean, even when live, Mooty always puts his hand on the drum riser.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to get one of those Portland Davis
Yes,
things. I
excellent,
want to
yeah.
try one before
What's
I buy
that?
one.
What are
It's a stool where and basically
Oh,
you
I've
can,
seen these.
I
Yeah.
put the bass drum or the bass through the compressor in it and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it into your stool so you can actually feel it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people rave about them. I've never tried one actually, but I'm keen to try one of those as well.
Because
But-
don't they use them as metronomes as well? So like you can have them set
Oh,
up.
that's
so
I know they do them
Yeah,
watch
the
things
watch,
of
yeah,
like
no.
I've got
that.
one of them.
have you?
Yeah, most off-putting thing I've ever used.
Oh,
in my
really?
life.
Really?
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. Kept
Oh.
going out of time with it.
But that's just you. That's not the.
Yeah, going out of time more than what I normally would. No, I did it when we were doing all the Butlins, Northern Soul stuff, because I don't play by, you know, I can read scores if I've got them and study them and whatever else, but I'm not a sight reader to read.
No, man.
And when we were doing when we started doing the Butlin stuff, because it was so high profile, I thought, I've really got to like, so I tried to do a click track. Well, problem with me using a click track is if I've got a really shit mix, I can't put the click on, so that's why we've never done it. Now we've got set up where, I've got my own setup. I'm quite happy to go back to using a click. Fun enough, I'm just sorting out all the tempos for the set at the moment to do that. But back that, then I didn't do it. So I thought I'll get one of them, and then I can use that. The most off-putting thing. You're playing drums and all of a sudden your wrist is going up.
Oh,
I can't handle this. It was really weird.
You could get yourself a click boy that like bash you on the head. Right. If they could listen to the click. Just bash you on the head as you're playing like that.
I'll tell you what, I'll do that in the next gig for you. Forget the camera, I'll
Click
just
boy.
come along.
You be on top like that.
Yeah. I'm good with timing, I promise you.
Just going back to drumming now before we move on to the next bit.
Yeah, go on.
Me and Darren could talk forever anyway.
Yeah.
Alright? Definitely in this situation. But just go back to drumming. You don't play that much anymore because you're too busy doing
No,
promoting.
but I still I'm always on the pad. Like I'm always like keep my hand in, because if I need to jump on the show or something, if like depping or something like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to play more, but since I came off the road, so my last tour was 2018.
Alright.
Yeah, carry on. So you was with Johnny Cash?
No, so it's a production show about Johnny Cash's life called Johnny Cash Roadshow. So I came off the road, I think it was February 2018, to concentrate on building the shows. That was a kind of concept. Because I was trying to do both, and it was like out in Europe and that, trying to sort out marketing and and sitting in your hotel room and you get like no sleep, and it was just getting a bit too much. So.
And your daughter disowned you.
She'd left. I went home and there's no one there. But that was the kind of reason. But I miss it. I mean, I miss playing like so much, because you do it every day. When I think about it, for you literally do it every day. And then suddenly you don't, and you go, there's something missing. And also I kind of had a bit of a kind of spam up like mentally, because it was like I kept thinking there's something in my life that's missing, and I was like, just playing the drums.
Honestly, I asked this question, with my hearing. So I got a hearing test next Tuesday, and that would tell me whether I've deteriorated much more in the last 2 years. So I'm kicking more now than what I've been for a number of years. I just don't see how I could stop. I just can't see. I sometimes wonder if I stopped, I might have all this time to do other things and but I
it's
stop
not worth
and I
it.
just need to do it. I can't see what would make me stop. I just really can't.
Well, even in the height of COVID, when I was in the band back then, we got told literally the day of going to do a tour, can't go anymore. And even that was a kick in the teeth. And we was due to play other shows in 3 months past that point. But even that was a kick in the teeth.
Well, that was probably the longest I haven't played for was COVID. I mean, I was like home on my pad.
Yeah.
In fact, it done me a favour on my pad.
Because you got better,
I
Your roots are
practice.
better.
I just came out the other side of it. It was like,
Yeah.
well, especially having my heart attack, because I had to really build myself up anyway. So, because straight after that, I couldn't play at all. My arms started aching. Yeah, for months. Every time I sat down,
because like the blood and all that.
I was just exhausted, and it was hurting my arms. So I was really getting panicky, because I think it was June the 21st is when the first gig was in the end, and I was like, kind of had that to look forward to. And I made it. I didn't think I was going to make it. So
the tingling in your arms and that, was that directly through the heart attack, or was that because like you hadn't done anything?
No, I was just repairing my body, really.
Right.
I was just, my arms were just. I just couldn't play,
Because it's like blood flow, isn't it?
Like my arms were really aching, and it really took me a good few months to get back.
Yeah, but you've done great to get
But I had to go back to
into it.
basics. And coming out the other side of it,
Yeah.
I actually think I came out better than what I did when I went into it, which is always a good
That's
thing.
weird, isn't it? Because I definitely think now, because you go, especially if you're touring with one artist or one show, you know, you generally play the set in the same order, the same songs, night after night for hundreds of gigs, you know, like literally.
Yeah.
So you don't really, well, I mean, there are people, amazing players that will will do the show and sit there for a few hours before it or after it or whatever, and make sure they get their practice in and stuff like that. But I was a bit lazy like that, so I do think
I'm really lazy.
But I do think now that I practice my rudiments more than I ever did, which is weird, isn't it? I don't get behind a kit very often, but I'd say that, you know, sitting doing my rudes is probably, they're in better shape than they have been since I was a kid. Being made, not made to.
I mean, daily practice is the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've struggled with that at the moment. Actually, I'm trying to get back on practice and whatever else, but I'm getting that. Some days I'm doing like half hour, 45 minutes quite comfortably, and the next day I might have to skip 2 days where I'm doing fuck all. It's like, you know, 15 minutes a day is better than trying to do half hour one day. I just can't seem to get it in my diary at the moment. But there you go.
But that's the difference, though. When you start doing all of them, you become a much better drummer.
Practice.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's all
Practice.
All about practice, isn't it?
You're still much better than me, so don't even.
I mean, I can't remember who the player is, but it's someone like Weck or Coliuta, and someone was at a clinic, and they went, you know, it don't matter. I could, you know, I don't know how you get to being that unbelievably good. And they were like, it's practice, mate. Yeah, but it must be. And they were like, it's practice, mate. I remember there was a
commitment, dedication.
Oh yeah, totally. But I remember going to a clinic. I can't remember who the drummer was, and he just he was done some unbelievable. Thomas Lang, and he was like, and it was completely mind blowing. Like, it was mind blowing what he was doing. And this bloke said, and he was joking, because I don't know if you know Tom, but he's German. He's got German descent. Well, I think he lives in the States now, but he's toured with everyone. He's like one of my favourite players. And this guy he said to him, he said, I don't matter, I can't work out. He said, it's just unbelievable. It's like almost unworldly. And he just went, he said to him, do you practice 9 hours a day, including Sundays? And he went, no. He said, that's your problem.
I know, he does like 8-9 hours every day.
Every day. Yeah, he's just like, but you look at him and you go, of course he does. That's how he gets that good. I mean, he plays, and I was a touring player for 35 years, and there's something I've no idea what he's doing. He might as well be like a 2-year-old. He would have as much of a clue as I have.
I always remember at school though, our head of music department was a guy called Stan Hewitt.
Not Stan. I don't know.
and he used to play the violin, or fiddle, as we used to call him. But he used to play the violin, and he became a professor in music work. So he was a really didn't give a shit about teaching kids. If you had no interest in music, he didn't give a toss about it. Literally used to stick you in the classroom, stick a video on, and then you wouldn't see him for another hour. Like, he just really didn't care. But I can remember every morning before school, he was in there at 6 o'clock in the morning, 3 hours practice. Every lunch break, he was there permanently practicing. After school, as soon as the school bell went, he was back practicing. And the bloke used to just practice like you wouldn't believe.
I bet he was unreal.
Oh, he was. I didn't appreciate it then, because I just thought he was like fucking, nagging music teacher that guy was on the fiddle. But now I really appreciate how much effort he put into it and how good he actually was. Not that I know much about the violin, but I do know a lot about playing the fiddle. British!
But on the same subject as that, I know that the late great Bob Armstrong, you were a pupil of his, and so was I. But I remember I used to have the 9 a.m. slot in the morning. Great story about Bob, actually. I remember going to an auditioning for him, and he said to me, any preference in when's a good time of the day for you? He said, I know, like, you do it for a living. I went, yeah. I said, to be honest with you, I said, I don't really like the mornings that much. I said, I'm a bit, like, I get up, a bit later than most people. He went, okay, you can have the 9 a.m. slot. He just wanted a commitment, which is great. And that's why he was so amazing, He pushed and pushed and pushed you. And that was a great thing for me, because I'm, especially like I lived in Epping at the time, so like Epping to Hornchurch, where he was based, Stanley Road. So many great players have been there. But I used to have to get up like hated it as well. You'd be gigging the night before, He's like, set your alarm. Oh, God, get out in 3 hours. Fight your way through the thing. And you'd be expected to be absolutely rehearsed up, on the dot, and rehearsed up. But Bob, when he used to get there, he was teaching himself, I'm sure it was bugle. He was teaching himself how to play the bugle. So you get there, so you get there in the, if I was early, because you have to beat the traffic, I'd get there like 8:30, and then like he was be sitting there like playing the trumpet, not trumpet, bugle. But
I used to have the 9 o'clock slot.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to have to struggle to get, because you used to get to Romford, and like the traffic in Romford in the morning was so unpredictable. So I had to leave mega early. Because if you got there late, you used to cancel your lesson.
Really?
But I always used to get in. He was standing outside having a fag waving for me. So I never got to hear that.
Genius. I mean, what a fella! I loved him. I absolutely loved him.
Yeah, he was an amazing guy. I probably was his worst student. He actually got ill when he was teaching me. He got shingles, and it was a bit of a weird thing, but amazing drummer.
What was his hearing like? What was his hearing like?
Don't know, I never asked him.
No.
Do you know what? It's one of the things that you say that, I don't think Bob ever realised how deaf I was.
Right.
And I was at a stage then, because when I play, I have to take my ears out. Mm-hmm. So I used to take my ears out then, but I don't really realise that, like, because he used to stand behind you.
Yeah.
You know? And then I used to, like, I didn't quite get it. You know? I think that's, I don't want to say it caused an issue between us, but it
worked. It rubbed wrong.
It didn't work, and I don't think he quite got how deaf I was. Unfortunately. One last question on drumming before we move on to your next talent. How many times does Winnie tell you to shut the fuck up tapping?
Every 10 minutes? Or?
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean how many times in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Not how many times a day.
Sharon must have told me 3 times last night.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, she says, stop fucking tapping.
She goes like this.
Yeah.
And then gives you that look, and you know
it's the look that kills, isn't it? Yeah, Sharon 3 times last night. She went, stop.
That's just a drummer thing, isn't it? Tapping. You just can't help it. Every
day. You've always got beats and drums in your head. I permanently got something, but you just end up tapping. And you just don't realise you're doing it.
Yeah.
Until she has a go at me. Then I realise I'm doing it. And then 5 minutes later she has another go at me, and I still realise I'm doing it.
It's the 5th time when you go, right, maybe
third time when I get the look, I think she ain't joking now. She's going right go at me. So
like
that. I have to really make like a teacher. So,
I just don't. I don't revolt at all. I just like, I'm too scared.
Well, you're a smart man.
He's a married man. So moving on, music production. Okay, I'm gonna make a statement here.
Go on.
You produced the first album and the album that got Charlie XCX signed.
Well,
no way.
Well, there's a kind of thing about that. So, Charlotte.
Yeah,
so she came, as I say, as a 14-year-old with her dad, came to the studio, and they wanted to do a demo, and we had a particular budget. It was I think it was like 3 days, maybe 4 days, and so originally it was supposed to be a demo, but I know that it kind of ended up being a kind of short run release thing that we released through the label that I was involved in was called Orgy Records. No,
signed the 14-year-old girl.
I know it.
Right, wait a minute. Right.
Sure.
Wait a minute.
Does not sound right.
Right, no, wait a minute. Right, orange, red, green, yellow.
That does not justify calling it orgy.
No, it wasn't. I didn't call it orgy. But what that was. So she wasn't signed. Although we did when I say release, it was a like little micro label. So it did. I think there was 250 copies. But I think if I remember rightly, that we did introduce John, who's her dad. I hope he's still with us. I think we introduced him to Music House, who were the pluggers, music company, and then she went on to get the deal after that. So when I say it was the first album, I remember doing a couple of singles as well, but it was kind of very early on, and it was very much to a budget, which when you're first starting out, it's understandable completely. Yeah. But I think what it was is we made a demo, and then they done a release of it. It wasn't really meant to be an album, if you know what I mean.
So more promo.
Yeah, it was more a promo thing, but in some you can read bits on the internet where they go, it was the first album, but it wasn't really the first album. It was a demo.
She's done alright, Abby, hasn't she?
I know, isn't it?
Well, she won. She won. What did she get? 3. She won 5 Brits the other night.
Yeah.
And 3 Grammys. I mean,
Jesus.
but you know what? She was well, still is. I'm sure. Lovely, amazingly talented. She's brilliant. Even at 14, you kind of went, of course she's going to get on. She's great, you know. And also so easy to work with. There's no nonsense. It was, no or prima donnery. It was just all great. And she'd come out of a million. I remember this is quite funny. We done the end of this track, and she said, I just want like chaos at the end of the track, like all this like machinery going on. And so I can't remember if she suggested it or I suggested it. I said, well, let's just make a pattern in the MIDI, and we kind of made like this hexagon pattern and just press play and see what happened. And it kind of went. And so that's what I'm trying to say is that's how creative she is. She comes up with stuff like that, and you can listen to her stuff now. It's like it's properly out there, even though it's still mainstream.
Yeah.
But it's still she will have a hell of a lot to some artists kind of go, oh yeah, I want to do an album. They bring them in to do a vocal. I'm sure that ain't the case. She will want proper.
The full control.
She want to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, but that's why she's got 5 Brits last week.
Exactly.
But good luck to her. She's brilliant.
The people putting the effort in
at
the beginning. I know you said to me before her work ethic was like.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And also her work ethic. I can't remember how many GCSEs she was doing, but she was doing her GCSEs while we were making, studying. I mean, and a lot as well. 10 to 12 GCSEs. Very bright young lady. While making the record, I mean, that's,
fair play.
Right,
Fair play.
Really brilliant.
Yeah.
Commitment and dedication.
Yeah. So what we've got from this week so far: commitment, practice, dedication. Do it. It's almost as if it's what they've been saying all along.
Exactly. Yeah.
The last album, I think it's the last album you've done, was with us, Static Wax Records, for obviously Georgia Crandon.
Yeah.
Another very talented,
ridiculously
person.
Talented. Equally as talented.
It's good. So, do you still? I mean, you don't do that much music production anymore, but you still.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I'm doing some stuff for Georgia in the next couple of weeks.
Oh right.
I'm mixing. She's going out to. She's got a tour in Germany. Don't know when that tour is. Oh, it must be quite soon because she wants it quite quick. And I've got a mix. Like a bit of post production and mix what she's recorded. So so it's in the next. I've literally probably got to start that in the next couple of days. So,
where would you find this business that you do then? Do you have like a hub that you release stuff yourself, or is it always just through the other channels?
No, it's just but just people kind of come and ask me to do stuff. Really,
usually me.
Knock, knock, knock.
You go and set the desk up. You know the story about me about this desk arriving here, don't you?
No.
Darren.
Yeah.
No, go on. Spill the beans.
So we were setting up a studio, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we were
coming into here or
obviously the other studio.
Right, the old place, yeah.
So we were talking about because the studio was all set up digitally, and it was like, oh, we need to get some decent preamps, So I was looking around different preamps, and I was like,
4 I wanted.
4 preamps.
4.
Right? I'd always wanted a DDA desk, which is lovely, right? So I'm looking at preamps, and I'm looking at all these different. Cost of them is like astronomical,
Yeah.
But got to get them. So it was really just getting some really good preamps that we wanted in. So some stupid reason I went searching for DDA desks because I've always wanted one.
Yeah.
And they're decent preamps,
Yeah.
Really decent preamps.
Yeah. So and then I found this, right, sitting up in Wigan, in a studio that was like virtually derelict. Well, when we got there, it was more derelict than what we thought with the pictures.
Really.
So all of a sudden, I'm like. It was cheap, So I was like,
Started
doing
doing that.
I phoned Darren. I went, Darren, there's a DDA desk, like 72 channels. 72 channels? Only wanted 4. I went, but
it's a DDA desk.
So he's like, And he's like, oh yeah, but mate, you know, it could be like bollocks. It might just not work, and like, you know, it can cost you a fortune.
And I'm not normally like that, am I? I'm normally quite optimistic.
No, but you were, you know,
I was
stating
trying
out
to
the
be.
obvious.
What I didn't want to do is for him to do his dough, you know. You
Yeah.
get out and bring it back, and it's like
it's just
a pigeon
disgusting.
fly.
Yeah,
But that was actually nearer to the truth.
He's going, it could be this, it could be that, and you know, moving it, and I went like, fuck it, we're going to Wigan Saturday. We've got the van, we've driven all the way to Wigan, pulled into the road where it was.
And what was it called?
Drummers Lane.
True story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's meant to be.
It's called Drummers Lane. We were like, what?
Actually, you've got to put the picture on the podcast because there's a picture of me and you, like
Standing next to
Drummers
him.
Lane.
Anyway, we went in the studio, and sure enough, his studio was like an old barn that
Right.
wasn't leaking, but it weren't far off it.
It
Yeah.
had like smashed windows and that. Though,
Yeah,
didn't it?
well, it was, but it can't be. You know, it weren't in a good state.
No.
Right.
We looked at this, and it was.
And
like,
how cold was it? Snow on the ground, wasn't it?
yeah, like, and we were like, I was like, we're here now.
Yeah.
So he's still panicking out to load it. Me, I've got the trolley out, got the ratchet straps out,
You've done
straight
the
in the
work.
back of the van, bush. He
Nice.
drove all the way back from Wigan with it. Got it in the studio, set it up,
Yeah.
and then we had to fly someone over from the Isle of Mull to come over to service
Yeah, he
it.
was
He's
great,
the only
wasn't he?
guy that really knows.
What's
He's the
what?
guy, but he's like the top guy.
Yeah.
And he flew over and he serviced it all, and got it all working. And we actually had a right result.
Yeah.
But we could have had a right
It could
disaster.
have been a proper disaster.
I could have been like trying to explain to the shower why I've just fell out of dough.
Yeah.
But that
Not
being
fucking
said,
work.
even if you took the preamps out of it, a few preamps out of it, and they worked, they'd be worth the money that you paid.
Well, that was my justification. If it didn't work, is that I'd be able to break the desk
Yeah,
up
yeah.
and probably get rid of it for what we paid for it. you know.
Right,
So
yeah.
that's how we ended up with it. It was just me and Darren.
Wow.
Thinking we need some decent preamps.
I mean, what a decent desk as
we
well.
would have got it.
Oh no, it's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
And we done some stuff on it, didn't we?
Yeah, we've done all the.
But
And
by
stuff
by
on
that
it,
time,
we've
I'd
done.
already mixed George's album, which was a shame.
Yeah, a bit
'cause I
unfortunate.
kind of,
You did do some stuff for it. I think it was
Yeah.
just as you were finishing the album that we got it.
yeah. But I mean, that being said, it's more of a tracking desk than a mixing desk.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It's good, great for
Wait,
tracking.
did the Vendettas go through that?
Yeah.
Did they actually?
That was
Oh,
the
they
first
did,
session we
didn't they?
Really?
That's the
Yeah.
first session we did.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Why would you give them such?
We didn't have anything else.
Apollo twin,
No,
that'll
the
do.
first session in when we got it up and running. In fact, it wasn't 100% working.
No,
was it?
no.
It was only at sort of like
You're right.
60-70% capacity, but they went.
Don't
through
even
it.
know if it was
Yeah.
60 or 70%.
Well,
I
not.
think there was only a few channels
Yeah, we
working.
did tell them though.
Yeah, but in our defence, they didn't need any more channels than that.
No,
Because
They're not that good a band anyway.
Be honest, they didn't go through it.
I love
thought
that.
They didn't go through it. They just thought they did.
Yeah. It was straight in the MIDI, that. Oh,
Yeah, so that was a funny story, wasn't it? That?
It was funny. Yeah, but even like my missus and his missus are just like, oh, here they go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they quite close then in their shared trauma of used to?
Usually when we buy snare drums.
Yeah, the snare drum thing. You know what? Actually, I was going to say that to you, right? You never told me that you had a 400, and I found one in your cupboard. So Sharon,
Ages.
he's got a 400 in there. He ain't told you about.
I've been using that for the last couple of years until I bought the Black Beauty a couple of weeks ago.
Oh right, okay. Well, you didn't. I said to you, I bought a 400, and you didn't go. I've got one of them.
Well, you knew I got one of them.
I
I got a
did have
Coliseum of 400 out of Black Beauty, mate. I'm like, Ludwig and me, we're like that.
All right, I'll let you off.
There's another one I've seen though, but I ain't told you
Oh,
about.
no. I thought
This
it
is the only
stopped.
guy I know. This was funny, and every year it pops its head up. He went and bought a new snare drum.
Oh, here we go.
And he went and picked it up and took Winnie with him on her birthday.
You're a brave man.
Yeah, that's true.
You're a brave man.
That always started the joke.
Lovely
She
bloke.
got a snare drum for her birthday.
It was a Sona D505,
But I got even
ferromanganese.
couple of weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
he phones me up because I've always wanted a Black Beauty snare drum. I had one back in the 80s. I wanted a 70s one. There's no difference in them in sound or whatever else. It's just that I wanted the 70s olive badge one just because I wanted to replace it with something better than what I
There's
had.
purists out there going, heathen!
Yeah.
Shouting at you.
Darren phones me up
Right.
3-4 weeks ago, put me right on the spot for trouble. right? He's always tagging me in on Facebook for drum kits and everything, really trying to get me a default. But he phones me up
Don't do it
this
for that
time.
reason.
No.
Normally it's just a tagging on Facebook. Oh look, and I go, yeah, but like I'll get in do shit.
Yeah.
He phones me up, like, because I wanted this Black Beauty snare drum. So he phones me up and goes, my mate Graham has got a 70s fucking Black Beauty for sale. Like he wants, decent money for it. It's worthwhile.
Yeah.
He said, but like he needs to know now. He said, if not, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Like, what'd you do then?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
He needs to know now,
Yeah.
or you're not going to get
He
it.
knew what
It was
you
like-
knew what you was doing
it was
there,
like-
didn't you?
I'll have it.
Yeah.
I end up then phone Graham straight away because he sent me the number, and sure enough, I commit to it. And then I
Yeah.
thought, oh fucking, she's gonna kill me. She's gonna absolutely kill me if I bought another drum. Right, so I was like, I goes and picks. I still haven't told her. I go to the South End. I pick it up. I bring it back. I hide it in the cupboard. Right, I'm thinking I've got to pick a moment to tell her.
Yeah.
Have you told her now?
Yeah, it's about
Oh.
2 days later, I was just thinking like, right, I'm gonna have to tell her tonight. She's gonna find out because he's gonna say something.
Yeah.
So I was just plucking up. So I thought, what I'll do, I was sitting there waiting for her to come home, right? And I was just plucking up the courage. I thought, how shall I tell her? And I was just working out.
It was just watering all the flowers. All the flowers in put around
the best
here.
way of approaching it. And I went on Facebook and I was like, I put a post on, like,
I've seen
how
that
you-
post.
Right, I literally just, as she pulled up at the house, right,
Yeah.
I'll just put like that on. I thought I'll get some mates to start, defending me a little bit.
Yeah,
By the time I
yeah.
told her. And she walked in, she walked straight, this is no joke, she walked straight in the house. Right? I walked out from my little study drum room.
Yeah.
I walked out to met her at the front door. I went, all right, dear. And she went, what have you done? I went, she went, what have you done? I went, what do you mean, what have I done? And she looked at me, she went, you bought another drum.
Absolutely.
Which I suddenly
different.
went, how did she know?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah.
but
Black Beauty, it's Darren's fault. He put me on the spot.
Yeah, that was the other thing he put on Facebook. Oh, it's Bazzoni's fault.
Yeah.
All over.
You wanted to publicly shame, didn't you?
It's called support. But, well, look, I said to her, when she'd not sort of calmed down, but when she'd gone and unpacked, and I thought she might have calmed down a bit, I went, how did you know? She went, you just had that look on your face that you bought another drum.
They know us, don't they?
Yeah.
What's that? A look of happiness and contentment in the world.
Shit myself. I've been warned not to buy
That
any
being
more
said, though,
drums.
it was good value, wasn't it?
That was amazing value.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
so happy with it.
Yeah.
Sounds nuts. But
Well,
she
I mean,
still doesn't
basically-
appreciate it.
Thank you, Graham. He appreciates it. Really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. I mean, I'm touring with it now. It's like.
Well, yeah, no, even on that post, it was like, oh, I've been so many years, I really wanted one
Yeah.
again. Like,
Well, that's why I put it on to
well,
him.
you're a good friend.
Exactly.
She still don't get it.
Yeah, no.
And also,
I'll make
I borrowed
up.
Why do
someone.
you need another one?
That's what it really is, isn't it? As soon as you go on tour,
Yeah.
oh, I need a Black Beauty.
Why do you need 13 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's 13
just need
different
them,
sounds.
Just need them. Just need them, you know. Different sounds, different this, different that.
There's 13 different scenarios you could find yourself
Have you
in.
seen that? Talking about that, have you seen that Facebook page, Snare Geek, when they do hits on loads of different drums? And I sit there. Do you sit there for hours listening to them?
Not ours.
I literally sit there and have them on repeat. It goes like 400, like Sonar, dit. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Oh no, I don't like that. Oh, I like that.
Unless you're a drummer, you're never going to understand snare drum.
Never.
Snare drum obsession.
Fun, isn't it?
Oh, 13, 14 snare drums. Now.
Yeah, but then
I
we're
haven't
not
got
even
that many.
considering the mic setup for said snare drum as well, because that's a whole different.
Yeah.
Well,
kettle
what
of
I've
fish.
started doing now, though, seriously, I've started tenor a little bit more because I've actually got to the point where I'm worried that when I snuff it, she's just going to get rid of all of me going, oh no, it's only a couple of £100.
Yeah.
London Coliseum,
Yeah.
couple of £100, someone's going to get a real bargain.
Yeah.
I'm turning in my grave.
Someone.
I'll be trying to put my ashes back together. So, one last subject. You run currently 4 shows? 5 shows? 4 shows?
Yeah.
4 shows.
I can't
Story
keep up,
Swing,
but yeah.
Neil Diamond, Adele, Jimmy.
Yeah.
4.
Well, I don't run
That's
the
all right.
Story Swing. Gareth and Ben run it. But
3 or
yeah,
4 shows.
I'm involved in it.
So if you're a promoter for 3 or 4 shows, you must be fucking minted now then.
You know what, mate? Honestly, sometimes my
Trying to
trousers
buy
are
a
falling
black
down.
I run one band and my band think I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
Off the top.
I've
So you
got
must
so,
really do
no, I've
well.
got so much money that I had to get new belts because the money in my pocket is pulled my trousers down. it's so I can't walk. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. So it is hard. And that's what I was going to get onto because obviously, we're in the tribute market. I'm kind of in the tribute market, kind of not, but it's the same sort of market.
Yeah.
We're attracting whatever.
I call it a review.
Yeah, it's good.
A review,
Quite like that.
yeah.
Quite like that review. I'm in the review market.
Mm.
I like that. I'm gonna adopt that.
But like tribute and review shows, they're the same kind of thing, aren't they?
But it is really hard. Yeah, promoting it, and I mean running
Yeah.
it is one thing, but promoting it is difficult.
Yeah.
Especially since 2020. It's, I kind of got a bit better since 2020, but it's still really, really hard work. How has it changed over the last decade? And you've been doing it obviously
Last decade or since COVID,
Or
because
since
there's like a night and day thing. So there's kind of pre-COVID where
It was just
when I
hard.
say a few,
Yeah,
when I say a few people, I don't mean a few people had shows, but there was certainly far less shows at that point before COVID, and obviously COVID, musicians and producers sitting at home thinking, okay, what and deciding to put shows together. So when post COVID, there's definitely a lot more competition. So a lot more production shows
And
out there.
less venues as well, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, we lost a few theatres. Definitely, I mean, the grassroots music sector. I mean, bless them, they proper
Well,
suffered.
the
They're
reason
still
being is-
suffering.
You weren't around in the 80s, but if I go back late 70s and all the way through the 80s, I mean, I lived in Basildon. You could go out on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you could pick 4 or 5 different pubs that were doing live music.
Totally.
Now you might struggle to find 1 or 2. You know,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
just not. It's just not as much live music as there used to be.
No, like nowhere near though.
But as you were saying though, the grassroots sector is just non-existent.
Well,
And that's
it ain't non-existent, but it's suffered massively. And also, people don't. I mean, the Music Venues Trust, they're doing absolutely incredible work. Trying to make people aware that if you don't have the grassroots venues, you don't get the stadium fillers, and you can see that already. You can see that it's.
Well, what was the
blinders
thing
and nose in your face.
when Oasis announced their new tour and all that,
Yeah.
and there was a post going around saying their first tour or whatever it was, there was only about 2 or 3 of the venues left from when they did their tour, and that was only the 90s. It weren't like that was way back when.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I even just look back to Basildon, and even like the council funding club, the Roundacre, the Square at Harlow, Roundacre in Basildon, the Square in Harlow. There was one in Southend, I can't remember the name of it, but these were like council runs. None of them. There's not any of them left anymore, and they don't seem to do that type of
No,
thing.
no,
Else at all.
and it's so sad. I mean, the thing, and also, there's a lot of like academies and educational facilities that kids are learning their craft and stuff like that. Where are they going to bloody play? It's a proper crisis, and people need just to go to venues and support the venues because
why are people not going out to see live music anymore?
Because people don't go out in general. Like
certainly post COVID, that's
Yeah.
definitely people
Well, 'cause-
got used to being indoors. Didn't
Exactly. The world is set up now to look at Amazon.
they? Yeah.
Why would I bother going to the shop when I can go with food even now? You can buy bags of crisp on Amazon, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
But,
but is that living? You
Yeah,
want to
but-
interact with people, don't you? That's
that's coming from knowing that well.
Yeah.
Like from my generation, I see it all the time. Why would I
Yeah.
bother?
You go and Tinder, get a date now.
Do you know what I mean?
Pub and pluck up a garage to speak to them.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is you'd have to pluck
Or
up
a
the
guy,
courage.
or someone, or a person.
I never had the courage in the first.
Yeah, but we were drums, it made it like,
Yeah,
anyway.
You just stabbed behind the kid, didn't
Yeah.
you? Really, like.
Just smile.
Yeah. Oh, hello. I can twiddle sticks, you know. No. But it is. It's a different landscape now, really, and that's coming from like me and my
So
generation.
what happens to the future of real music? Not this, because obviously we've got AI coming in now. It's another threat to live music and to music moving forward.
Yeah.
Where's it going to end up? In your opinion, I've been in the music industry for 40 odd years. Where we are now and where we're going to, what's it going to look like?
I don't think that anything can replace live music. I just don't think that there's anything at all. It don't matter what machinery you have what technology. The thing, everyone being in a room, being fixed on the band or the artist or whatever, the whole vibe. You know, there's like a common consciousness. Like you sit and you watch something and you come out there and you're completely elated, and it's really about this is how I feel about it, getting people to go to their first show, you know, getting kids to go to their first gig, you know, because I mean, don't get me, I'm not knocking it's easy to knock arenas, isn't it? And in an arena you get a certain experience, but nothing will compare to you being in that club all crammed in like that and watching a great band. There's no feeling like it in the world.
Funny enough, though, it's the ears ringing at the end of it as well.
Yeah,
That's a part of that
maybe,
experience.
It is.
Well, it is.
Or maybe give them some protection on the way in.
Well, do you know, a lot of venues do that now.
Yeah.
You know, they do that. I mean, a lot of my friends are obviously even older than me. But I mean, my the vicar that married myself and Sharon, proper music freak. Hi, Paul, if you're listening. He's the coolest vicar who's in the world. He really, really is. But he's a proper music geek. I mean,
he don't come out of Barking and Dagenham, does he?
He does originally, yeah.
Does he? Has he got long black hair?
No, not now.
No.
Oh, right.
Reverend Paul, Pac-Man, he calls himself.
Oh, really?
But he was in Billericay, so he puts a lot. He's
Right.
now moved to Cyprus actually.
Yeah,
but he was in Billericay.
What a geezer.
Puts events on. Oh, the music collection's unbelievable. I know when we went around the house to sort our wedding out, went in his music room, and it was just like CDs all the way around the whole proper music freak.
Yeah.
But as he says, you know, hearings is struggling. It's just said all the live music that I saw back in the day when I never used to use any text or anything.
Yeah, exactly. But it gets sort of coming back to that whole with the vibrations as well. Nothing beats that bass and the kick drum just hitting your chest and rocking you.
Go back to one thing you just said a minute ago about youngsters and their live shows. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I took my lovely grandson Bert.
Legend.
He came to a show. He'd been nagging me about because every Sunday I normally have Sundays with Bert, so I'll pick him up and we go swimming or we go and play golf or we do whatever. And we get in the car and we have our little chats. You know, what did you do yesterday? What have you been doing all week? Have you been a good boy at school? Blah blah. And he always says, "Oh, what have you been doing? Have you had any shows?" Because obviously I pick him up on the show. I go, "Yeah, I had a show last night. A show the night before." So he'd known what all these shows were and he'd seen photographs and whatever else, but he'd never been to a show. So we finally got one where he come along. Absolutely loved it.
Of course he
blew him away. And not just because I don't think it was just the fact that Grandin was on the drum. Of course he loved that.
He just loved the whole thing.
Well, I did. But it's just like
that was a bit he hated the most.
My daughter Bex was looking after him up with things, and I've got photos of him where he's sitting on the steps. He didn't sit in the stairs. He sat on the
side.
He's got his set list. He had his crisps, his drink. He was just sitting there, and you can see him in the videos. He was like, and I think it made him. I hope not in terms of him being like a musician. As I said earlier, I don't try and encourage that. He's going to do it on his own. But I think in terms of live music, it like kind of hopefully sort of did something where I said to him, "Did you enjoy yourself?" He was, "I had the best day, Granddad." You know, he was proper buzzing. He was helping all the guys load in and load out their gear, and he was like, absolutely loved it. But I hope. Just that, as you said, getting young kids out to see live music, to get that impact, to make that impact.
Totally.
I really hope that happens.
Yeah.
Nothing beats
not
your
about
first
being a
gig.
musician, about it being appreciated
Into
for
it.
music and musicians and live music. I really hope that might have done something.
But nothing beats that first gig because you could never ever experience that anywhere else. Yeah, you can hear a full band on Spotify or whatever in your ears. It's not the song. It's not the same song.
What's the first gig that ever made an impact to you?
Oh, that's a question.
Live gig, I just thought. What's the first gig you went to that made you really go, oh yeah?
So there used to be a venue where I grew up, and it was called Centrepoint, and it had two venues. I think it might have even had bloody three because I remember there used to be a disco upstairs. There used to be a main hall where they used to have bands, and there used to be another room. And there were some like proper prominent bands. I think like Marriott's band, Packet of Three. They used to go there. I remember like Automatic Slim. Do you remember them? Almost from Southend or from that area. All these kind of I don't think the Feel Goods played there, but there was a lot of like and that was kind of maybe like a Thursday, a Friday, and a Saturday. So you could go there whenever you wanted over that time. There'd always be a cracking band. But I think, and I know that this sounds a bit odd, but I think I played a gig before I went to a gig. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I started playing when I was 4, and I was like in like little scratch bands and that when I was like 9 and 10. And I think I actually played a gig before I went to a gig.
Well,
I think for me, there's. I used to go. You'll know this band. I used to go up the Castlemaine pub in Basildon. I was only 12. I just started learning how to play drums.
Yeah.
And Wendy Roberts' band.
Oh yeah.
Phil Aldridge.
I played,
on drums.
Yeah.
Who was my drum teacher at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Great
they used to play Sunday lunchtimes at the Castlemaine.
Yeah.
In Basildon. So Mum and Dad used to go in because I couldn't go in the pub. Them days kids couldn't go in the pub.
Yeah.
So where the Castlemaine was, double doors that used to come into the Castlemaine used to look right on the stage. So Mum and Dad used to go in the pub, right, and I'd sit outside with my Coke, just watching on the Phil Aldridge playing drums.
Yeah.
It was my drum teacher at the time.
Yeah.
But I think that impact of musicians working together and all the setting it up and that buzz, that's what really got me. Like, sitting at the side of the stage thinking, I want to do this. I want to keep learning so I can do it. But I think the first real big concert I ever went to that made a massive impact was in 1986, and I went to Wembley Arena and saw Prince.
Wow.
That fucking blew me away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Prince as
Scenery of
well.
drums, like I was just like
Yeah.
blown away. Today, I still say it's one of the best gigs I think I've ever been to.
Yeah.
And
He's in the height of being Prince at that point as well.
I mean, he's great, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. But again, because everyone testified, he did nothing but practice.
Yeah.
He just did nothing.
Wasn't it? In a mobile studio, used to take out with him everywhere. Didn't he?
Yeah.
It was like
Crazy.
dedication.
What a bloody talent.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm glad I got to see him then.
I mean, that is a first gig as well.
Yeah.
A first proper gig.
Well, it was funny because we just signed our deal, and the management company that we were working with was also used to look after Alison Moore and
Oh, wow.
I come from Basildon, so it was all connected and whatever else. And it was a management company that took us. So we literally signed our deal one day, and the next day it was like
And
management company took us to Wembley to see
Yeah.
Prince. It was all like,
Yeah,
yeah,
look at me.
they're on our way, boys. You know?
Yeah, I call him Per, he calls me G. Yeah, we're that close, we're like that.
We didn't get out far and see him, but it was like it proper felt good at the time.
Yeah,
you know?
I can imagine.
Yeah, sort of
Feeling
taken
like
up there.
royalty.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Really good.
I talked to Juanita about Prince. I mean, she adores Prince.
Is
you
she?
know. You know, if he was still alive, she'd leave me in like that for Prince.
I think
Honestly.
most women would leave their husbands
I
for
think I'd
Prince.
leave Juanita for Prince.
He'd probably be happier and all.
No, I bet there's a lot more in that list, mate. I had to break it up.
No, alright.
Prince ain't even near the top.
It's just an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, she's ready to go anyway.
It goes Prince, Milkman, Post.
I shouldn't go that low.
Have you got Millman?
Yeah. That you know of.
So, just go back when we round up.
Yeah, good.
Advice to musicians for the future. What would you give? Apart from practice.
Well,
Practice
definitely.
being talent is great, but
Yeah, and like enjoy the whole thing, and it's it's not easy, but it's the best thing. I mean, can't imagine. I mean, I don't know what a different life is because you only live your own life, don't you?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't change, even though there was some a lot of like moments, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, I had a lovely time, you know.
I think
Not
now
so
that
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
that sound like.
And at this point, I'd like to sign off.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Oh.
it worries me the fact that back in our day, you know, you mentioned you got a deal, we got a deal. Then you got a deal and you got a small advance. If you're on a big label, you got a big advance.
Yeah.
And then we got put into development, you know, and then we used to go to
Yeah.
the studio. Don't get any of that more.
No.
That doesn't exist in record labels anymore. They're just a
No.
marketing company, you know. So now you've got to be really talented. You've got to be good at your instrument, and you've got to be good at social media, and you've got to be good at filming, and you've got to be good at doing this, and you've got to be.
Welcome to my world, Gav.
Yeah.
You know what though?
Do you know what? I'm
But
glad
there
Yeah.
was. I did listen. Funny enough, I listened to a podcast the other night, and I love this podcast.
Was
Rick
it called
Rubin.
The Deaf Drummer?
No, that's a great podcast. Avid listener. But there's a podcast called Tetragrammaton, which is a fantastic podcast, and it's Rick Rubin interviewing people. I can't remember what the lady's name was, but I think she was an ex-head of either Universal or BMG or something like that, and it was an amazing insight into all of us, everyone was very sceptical about the top end of the industry, and he was like, oh, I bet you look at people's views and stuff, and seeing how they're doing on TikTok, and it must be all about that now. And she was going, well, no, to be honest with you, no, it's not about that. We're really still looking for the talent, and it was weird because it gave me a bit of hope, that, for young people, that actually there are still, K in the industry, and rightly so, it's got a lot wrong with it, but there's also a lot of still brilliant people in the industry that are still all in it for the right reasons,
I generally feel it's going to turn back around again.
Yeah, I do.
Because, like we said, the great work that the venue trust do, and whatever else in terms of grassroots venues was, but I've even noticed, and this is what I noticed, vinyl records, right? How they're coming back. I mean, we every year we keep going, oh yeah, it's coming back. It's coming back more. Even my kids, both of my kids, they're 30s now, but they've both got record players. They both listen to music, which really pleases me that they do. They actually, go home and they put the record player on. But like Bex's friends have come round and they've seen this vinyl player and they're like, oh, and they think it's really cool, and they've now gone and bought one. And I just see that the album sales and vinyl coming back. I just hope that's going to put a shift back onto.
But then that's also like new technology, because there's like, I think it was about 3 years ago or so, there was a mad push out of these like Bluetooth vinyl players. So you can plug. Brilliant, like, because you get the best of both worlds then, didn't you?
I bought one for Christmas. She wanted a little record player up in her. She's got a little study upstairs where she does whatever she does.
He's got a great big drum room, and she's got like, I'll give her this little place under the stairs.
She's got the same size room as me. It's above my room. I'm down. Do you know how that happened?
Do you know
that happened? Lockdown. That was our dining room. My little music study office was our dining room, right? Which we never used to use because we were sitting in the lounge where we got a dining room.
We never used to use because it's full of snare drums.
We only used to use it when people used to come around for dinner, like Christmas Day. I never used to use it, but when we were going through lockdown, there was me, Bex, and Sharon at home. Bex was still living at home then, and it was kind of like, getting used to it. It's like, well, we all need to have our own little space. So Bex kind of had her bedroom, because she was always in there anyways, pre-COVID. But it was a bit like me and Sharon. It was like, because we couldn't go to the office, I couldn't go to the studio, or what else. It was kind of like, so I took the dining room, and I went to the studio and picked some of the kit up and brought it back. So I kind of took over the dining room a little bit. Sharon had the spare bedroom. She started, and then we used to all have our own rooms, and then we used to all meet up for lunch, and we tried to get into a routine. So I ended up with the that, and then after COVID, I didn't want to give it back. so I said to Shaz, we don't really need a dining room, do we? Because it's only you and me, because Bex was moving out shortly afterwards anyway. It was just like the two of us at home. But we only used the dining room once a year at Christmas. And the agreement of me having that room as my drum room, office study, is that Christmas Day I have to clear all my drum kit out, and we have to put the dining room table in there for Christmas dinner.
But going back to vinyl, what you're talking about vinyl, I think that's another big thing, because obviously bands, bands in particular and artists, suddenly they've got another bit of merch, there's some more merch that they can make a couple of quid, because it's bloody tough, It
is. Well, Adele did a thing when she bought out, do you remember when there was like a shortage of vinyl, because she did like a marketing ploy, basically, right? Tons of records on vinyl, completely destroyed the industry in the sense of no one could print any new one because she used all the material. But it helped because everyone was like, well, if Adele, #1 selling artist, is doing that, it must be a thing. Do
you know what that caused a lot of interest? Because when we were getting the Signatures album, we were just going to send it to press, and all of a sudden it was like, where we'd been quoted like 6 weeks, by the time we'd got it all mastered, mixed and everything else, COVID time, we suddenly went to have it pressed, and it was like 5 months.
Yeah.
Whoa, hold
Yeah,
on.
'cause
And
you
I was
just
saying,
thought
all the big labels had just released loads of stuff on vinyl.
Yeah.
It had just smothered the market for all the big labels. So all
Yeah.
the smaller independent
Yeah,
artists
no, it's not a chance.
won't get a shout.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I think more pressing plants have opened since then. And
Yeah, yeah. Well, because the trend's going upwards,
Yeah,
there's a demand for it again.
Yeah,
It's got to
totally.
be a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is as well is you can hear the difference between an MP3 or whatever digital compared to vinyl. There is a little bit of meat
What
on
did you say?
it.
You can hear it.
Yeah. You can't. No, there is. There's a difference.
Sounds so
Yeah, it's different.
I can't hear nothing. I just hear occasional bass.
Yeah. No, it's a lovely sound, isn't it? I mean, record it is a different sound, isn't it? I mean, the MP3s obviously it's quite a squash medium. It's that compromise, isn't it? It's amazing to be able to get any bit of music, however much that is ruin the industry, and also a good thing. It's like it's a balance, you know, and particularly for us in the music industry, because we're torn between. We love the fact we can go, "Hey Siri, you know, play Led Zeppelin 1," or "Hey Siri, play, you know, White Stripes," or whatever you want to play. But because of the renumerables are not right, it's also ruining the industry at the same time. So
I think
it's
just go what you said there. What you said about the sound. It doesn't make much difference to me. The, you know, the walk between vinyl does, but it doesn't. For me, I think with vinyl and even CD, the thing about it is it's just that physical thing.
Yeah,
you know? And,
owning it.
Most of the stuff that especially on the Northern Soul, the thing I love, I don't dance, don't collect records, also play drumstick, but what I really like is like Sid. You know, when I finally first started in about Sidney Barnes, it was when I had a record or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Sidney Barnes, you know. So I started seeing his name, and then you start locating where it was. But it's that physical thing.
Yeah.
An album cover.
Yeah.
I can sit in my chair, put an album on,
Yeah.
and just sit there and read the album cover, and read the musicians, and read the producer, and read the lyrics.
But it's
and
an
read this
experience,
and
isn't
read
it?
Yeah,
It's an
you know,
experience.
Well, like when they used to come up with them booklets in CDs and that, where they
Yeah.
had like, all the pictures
Yeah.
and went,
Yeah.
brilliant.
I mean,
Yeah,
people
get
do
lost
that
in
now.
it.
People do that now.
I still
It's a
sit there
brilliant
now.
thing.
I
Yeah.
still, you know, if I sit in my chair in my office, you know,
Yeah.
room, and I've got a little swivel chair, I'll sit and listen to an album, and usually the door's shut because if I listen to albums, usually one Sharon don't like.
Yeah.
But it's having that cover and just you know reading it and seeing all the detail. That's what you don't get.
No,
yeah,
stuff.
totally.
As you
Totally.
say, you just go Siri play.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's it.
done, yeah.
You just
No
get half
idea.
the experience is what I think.
But nowadays you've got no idea who played on it, who engineered it. You want to know who mixed it. You want to know who mastered it.
Where it
You
was,
got
you know,
no
that's all
idea.
the stuff that I like.
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it was
stuff I
recorded
love.
and
Yeah.
all that.
Well, you
sort of
can
stuff.
get that info on Spot, but who the hell is reading that far down? You just don't.
I Siri play Google. Who did this?
Yeah,
Like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't. But then it's
Not the
also
same
got
thing.
the side of things which I've noticed. Yeah, like you don't get these like what would you call it, like cliques as it were. Yeah, so rockers were a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but in my generation, it's sort of hard to decide who's who. Yeah, because there's such a broad spectrum now. Yeah, on Spotify, I listen to house music, rock music, rap,
Yeah.
blah, 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 all of it. Yeah, so I don't get defined by a genre as much. Yeah, and so the clothing doesn't have these differentials because when you had a CD or a vinyl, you owned it. So now you was a part of that. Yeah, so you wanted to dress like it and and it had these like cultural shifts. Now, because it's all blanket, we're a lot more sort of just the same in a sense, which I think that's another thing that's lost in it, which is kind of sad as well.
Yeah, one thing though, I do think that these like algorithms, they're trying, if they look at your collection, they're trying to push you down a certain thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the algorithm probably looks at me and thinks, what a complete fruitcake. So I can listen to Rachmaninoff one day and like whatever the next day, you know, rock or whatever. Because I love it all. So it must look at me and go,
Can't work it out.
Can't work this loony out.
Just country and western don't fit in my
Yeah,
Can't do
basically,
country.
yeah.
Country, I like country, but ding 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 ding. I guess what that's
You love it.
We should make the jingle for this country and western then.
Just to annoy him.
Yeah.
Darren, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for asking me.
And
It's been an enjoyable experience for me as well.
who's buying the next snare drum? It's got to be your turn.
No, who bought the last one? No, you bought the last. Oh, it is my turn.
It's your turn.
Tell you what, you can buy it for me if you want.
Don't say nothing.
And we always use that as an excuse. Whenever we buy one, it's always been bought for someone else. Always been bought for someone else.
Yeah, it's a present.
Yeah, no, it's a bad drug.
Yeah.
It's a bad drug. For one I love. Adios. Thank you very much, Darren.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
All the best.
Cheers.
Lots of love, and on to the next one next week.
Catch you all later.